You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is Breaking the Ice yet again, back for the spring semester, Wednesdays 3 to 4, and I have an entire army behind me today. Today, I have 4 guests. We're pushing it here. On mic 1, we have the duet. It's Devils Fanatics and Devils Report. Boys, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, bro? It's a great day, you know. The Devils have been playing great hockey right now, and the Penguins have not. So it's always a great day when that happens.
I love to hear it.
It appears we're starting already with the discourse. I'm Daniel Amoia, run devils.report on Instagram if you'd like to check it out. I'm pretty excited for another amazing episode of Breaking the Ice here on WMSC.
And on mic 2, Nem is back. Tell everyone how you're feeling today. We had our first class today, 8 a.m. I was late.
You
but
were
it's okay.
late. You walked
'Cause
right
you
in the
were
middle
late,
of my introduction.
Too. I walk
Happens.
in and she's in the middle of the tape of the entire room. I'm like, oh boy, did I get skipped? I did not get skipped. How's it going today for you though?
It's going great. As they were saying before, Devils are playing great. Penguins are not. Always happy when that happens.
Well then, on mic 3, the Penguins fan, the man who's already gotten ripped on without even speaking yet. AJ, how is it hanging?
You know what? It just kind of happens when you're great, you know? It happens when you've been in the playoffs for 16 straight years. You've won 3 cups. You've been to the conference final 7 times. Guys, what's it called? My two Devils with a little Instagram insiders. How many times have you been in the playoffs in the last 10 years?
1.
1. How many conference finals have you been since 2010?
1.
Ugh, it's a great day. How we doing, man? How we doing? How we doing?
Day. You know what, AJ? That's a good point you got there. It's a great point you got there. Right now we got NHL Network on the screen, and of course it's the Panthers Maple Leafs rerun from yesterday. So y'all get to see the collapse in real time. It was 4-2, and then it was 4-5.
Surely the Panthers held on to a 2-goal lead, right?
Surely the Devils held on to a 4-goal lead, right?
All right. Last year wasn't real.
Last year wasn't real, which is why I loved it so much. Because literally, when I didn't think that our two franchises could switch places so fast, but it happened. It really happened. So it's a good thing you're not in first anymore, because then you win the President's Trophy maybe. And what happens to those teams?
Cursed.
Exactly. So as of right now, Boston's cursed. As of right now, Boston's the cursed team. But we're going to jump right into it. We only got an hour today, so let's roll right into, I think, the funniest story of the week. Who saw Robin Lehner he filed for bankruptcy over his snake farm? I thought that was probably the last headline I'd read.
There's some snakes in those woods.
I mean, that's got to be Breaking the Ice's L of the week, right?
L of the week.
I mean, it can't be a team. It's got to be Robin.
A team will get an L for sure. But yeah,
I feel like this has to be
this is
special
just
circumstances at this point.
Yeah, you're gonna share it with Robin Lehner here. That was probably the last headline you could read. As here go the Panthers from yesterday trying to score, and guess what they did not do for the rest of the game? Take a guess.
I'm gonna say score.
You know what? That would be, that would be correct. But let's not waste time. We're going to roll right into it here. So, with this hour, we're going to get started on how the league's looking up with the Pacific Division. Now, first of all, I just want to say Vegas is still in front.
Did you say Pacific Division?
Yeah.
You mean the division that the Devils are 10-0 against?
Oh!
This is true.
So, hold on. Which teams... hold on. You mean to tell me this is the Devils' division?
Oh, the Devils own this division. We own it.
Okay, so Vegas is still in first, but can you beat Vegas? Unless you did beat Vegas already.
No, we did not. We beat every other team. Sorry, no, we play Seattle next, but we beat Los Angeles, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, San Jose, and Anaheim.
So I just want to say, Seattle finally moved up into second in that division. It took them long enough, and they finally were able to get it done. Matty Beniers playing great hockey. Yanni Gord playing great hockey. Team is rolling. Had a couple losses this past week, but a couple wins to go with it. And I see them as a team that's going to win a first-round series before the Toronto Maple Leafs do.
Honestly, I agree with you. I don't know. Just the Maple Leafs are cursed in general, and this Kraken team is hot right now. They won 8 games in a row, and 7 of those games came on the road.
Yeah.
Which is a very hard feat to do. The Devils are obviously very good on the road right now, but Seattle's right out there with them right now. So Seattle's winning games on the road, and I feel like that's key in for any team to if you want to win a playoff series, you're gonna have to be playing good on the road.
Oh boy, a Panthers power play, guys. Look at that.
I think a lot of Seattle, it goes to balanced scoring because if you look, they don't have a single player over a point per game. The Devils have 3, but they have so much depth that everyone's contributing. Burakovsky 37 and 44, Beniers 36 and 44, Eberle 35 and 44, Vince Dunn from the blue line 33 and 44. So they are just a very solid team with pieces, experienced NHLers who are just getting the job done right now. And it's been really exciting to watch because obviously they were not that great last season. So good for them.
I just find it funny that 2 teams in this division didn't even exist. The top 2 teams in this division didn't even exist when I was 14 years old.
I mean, and going back to your point on Seattle, winning a playoff series before Toronto, I mean, it's true that because Toronto's going to end up having to face Tampa in the first round because
as of right now,
the
you're
NHL's,
correct.
By the way, worst change in years the NHL has made with the 1-3, 1-3, and then 1-2 with the playoff seeding instead of your standard 1-8, like your 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6.
That's fair because I remember last year.
This is coming from someone who the Penguins if the season were to end today, they'd have to play Boston. It's not it's not ideal, but you'd much rather have that than a team like Seattle. They're gonna get who's
the Kings as of right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna get the Kings, and Seattle is a whole 5 points worse than Toronto right now. Yet they're gonna have Seattle's gonna get a much easier opponent than Toronto, would be if the season ended today, if it was a standard 1-8, would be 4th in the East and would play.
We'd get Devils Rangers if the playoffs started right now.
I don't think I could mentally handle that series.
I mean, I agree with Daniel, especially that we both have pages on Instagram. All the comments, I think I think you could agree we get so many hate comments.
NewYork.Rangers.coverage would be going crazy right now.
The Rangers fans love our DMs.
Oh, no, they're all over our DMs. Man.
But either way, for Toronto, in that scenario, if it was your standard 1-8, you'd be playing the Rangers, which, as of right now, I'll ask you guys, who would you rather see in the first round? You can speak on it for the Devils, you could speak on it for the Leafs. Who would you rather see in the first round, Tampa or the Rangers?
Rangers.
Yeah,
Rangers.
without a doubt.
Exactly. So that's my point. My point is, Seattle's gonna get the luck of the draw, and they'll be fine.
I mean, looking at this right now, the Western Conference is so weak compared to the Eastern Conference, I feel like. And it's just not even fair, I think, right now. I don't know.
I mean, Edmonton is making a push back up. I think the Western Conference wild cards, if I'm not mistaken, are legitimately Edmonton and Calgary. Yeah. And Calgary's not a good team. They're not even a good team. Legitimately. So, there's just, I guess, you'd think Nashville or Colorado's eventually going to, overtake that Calgary team. But it's just the way the NHL point system is set up. An overtime loss is half as valuable as a win. So you could lose 2 games in overtime, and that equals 1 win for another team, which is crazy to me. Because that's how Calgary has all these points. They have lost 9 games in overtime.
Yeah,
So, that's worth 4 wins.
Same with Carolina. They've lost 8 games in overtime.
And that's worth 4 wins. That's literally
an
worth
extra
4 wins.
That's. I mean, I know you guys touched on this in the last episode. I don't understand it.
Wins should be worth 3 points.
Go to the double IHF score.
I was gonna ask,
you
would
guys
you
said.
go how the World Juniors stack their points? Would you go to the
100%.
3-1 with the 3-2-1-0 system?
100%.
Just watching Nick Cousins try and fight Austin Matthews and then slip. That was just a little bit funny. But anyway, so this Edmonton team winning 4 games this past week. on fire. They beat Vegas. They beat Seattle in back-to-back games. And then, they polished off the Sharks. They put up 7 goals on the Sharks. Touchdown. With the extra point. And then they played the Ducks. 6-2. They put up a touchdown on the Ducks with Brett Maher kicking their extra point. You know what I'm saying? So just for that, Edmonton,
Brett Maher made an extra point.
not for the Ducks here. Not for the Ducks. So Edmonton gets my team of the week. They deserve it. McDavid still playing at the top of his game. Draisaitl getting back into the swing of things at the top of his game. I don't think Connor McDavid has had a bad week. I don't think there's been a week in this season where he's not been a top 5 player or a top 10 player.
No shot. I mean, he's playing. He has 84 points in just 46 games. Like, there's probably only going to be like 15 players in the league, let alone who get up to 84 points. So
And he's got half a season to go.
And also, we like Edmonton. I know, like we like kind of like look down on their depth and stuff like that of their team.
Yeah.
But looking at right now, they have 4 players who are over a point per game pace, including Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and obviously Draisaitl and McDavid. So it seems like this top 4 for them is really like thriving right now. So, and it seems like they're a big reason why they're winning games right now. And also, they just got Evander Kane back, who's now healthy after I think he sliced his hand, right?
Yeah, he's already. I feel like that was that long ago already.
Yeah, it was about 3 months ago.
It's been 3 months since that happened. I felt
Yeah.
like way not that long ago.
But getting him back is huge.
But we're not shocked by this Edmonton team, right? We've seen this before. You said you play your McDavids, your Draisaitl's like 25, 26 minutes a game. You burn them out through 82 games, and then you throw what's it called, a McDavid and a Draisaitl both on your top line. They throw them. Then in the playoffs, they'll play them like half the game, ignore their bottom 6, and hope them to with a plus along like an Evander Kane if they make a move at the deadline for another top 6 forward. Go get Patrick Kane. But you make a move for someone like that. You completely ignore your bottom 6. You burn your guys out for 30 minutes a game in the playoffs, and you hope that the two of the 5 best players in the world can win you 4 rounds in the playoffs versus elite competition. Is it possible every year? Yes.
Every year? Well, who knows?
It's not probable.
As of right
doesn't
now,
work.
I think they played Dallas in the first round, and they could totally take down Dallas.
Dallas is beating them in the first round.
I don't know, man. I think they could totally give Dallas a run for their money if they play them in the first round. Like, Dallas should not be leading that division, first of all. The Jets are going to catch them. Dallas, again, a team only in first because of how many games they've lost in overtime. They're tied in points.
Here's how I'll challenge you with Dallas. Is there a line, what's it called, outside of the Eichel line in Vegas, along with the Robertson Pavelski line is there another line in the West that can take McDavid and Draisaitl when you throw them on the same line, can go skate for skate with them? It's speed for speed. No. Dallas has the number 1 D-man. They have a Miro Heiskanen who's a stud. They have the young goaltender and Jake Ottinger who's putting up like a 920. Stud.
Dallas putting up 926 right now.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Dallas is would match up with a team like in Edmonton perfectly because your top line they have they don't have just as much firepower as 2 of the 5 best players in the world, but with Robertson at a 100-point pace, with Hintz being unbelievable, Pavelski still being unbelievable, then being able on the power play to have a guy like Miro Heiskanen what's a quarterback that unit.
You right.
Like Dallas. If I was in Edmonton, I'd feel a lot better if I were to go against a Winnipeg or a Minnesota Wild because outside of Kirill Kaprizov on Minnesota, what other top 6 do we really think that can slow down a McDavid or Draisaitl or at least keep pace with them? Nobody. On defense, Matt Dumba. Possibility. There's a real possibility he gets traded.
Fair.
Like, what are we? And then Winnipeg. Kyle Connor's great. Mark Scheifele's good. You don't really have much else. Josh Morrissey's a stud, but it's not like your bottom 4 on your D in your D core is that great. And then Hellebuck, Hellebuck could shut anybody down, but you're relying on him for 7 games to shut down 2 of the 5 best players in the world. It's not going to work out.
So you do think Edmonton has a shot?
I think, of course, Edmonton has a shot. We're not shocked by this every year with that. we look at them with that.
But you think they're going to burn out again?
When you play when you play your top two players for 25 minutes a game in the regular season for 82 games, it's going to take a toll on your body. And then when Woodcroft, with what he did last year, and I guarantee he's going to do it again, he's going to throw Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line. He's going to put Draisaitl on the wing. He's going to put McDavid at the center. And then when they're on, they're going to take ozone faceoffs on the dot. Then they're going to move Draisaitl to the center, but they're going to put McDavid on the wing. They're going to play them for like 30 minutes a game. They're going to play them the full 2 minutes on the power play, and they're going to hope and pray that they can win them 4 rounds.
I think after McDavid's career, he's going to break the Guinness's world record for most arthritis ever found in
Seriously.
Daniel Amoia, everybody. DoorDash's finest driver. Anyway, I hear your point with Edmonton there. I certainly think they have a good shot. And looking at the bottom 3 in that division, Vancouver's fallen off a cliff. San Jose lost probably every game they played this week. And the Duck, it was hard to choose a terrible team of the week because all the really bad teams this week, some of them won games. The Flyers won 3 games this week.
Did you all see the comments from Jim Rutherford, the Canucks GM?
Let's hear about it.
So basically he was saying, basically admitting he screwed up. He kind of went on a whole rant, and
this about who was it about again?
Bo Horvat was the main.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he basically said, without explicitly saying it, he basically implied that Bo Horvat's going to be gone at the deadline, that he's not going to be able to keep him. And basically saying there was a quote, I don't remember exactly what it was, but something along the lines of, we need to retool, not rebuild. And that's kind of how they've been. They're stuck in the middle of, do we completely blow it all up, or do we just fix a few things? I know AJ had a whole beautiful spiel about that.
The Nucks, yeah.
Ago. And it's just I'm just very glad I'm not a Vancouver fan right now, because they really are stuck in the middle, and it's they have young talent there, but it seems like their ownership and management is just incompetent and not fully going all in for this team. And as we see through sports, you can't be half in. If you're dedicated to winning, you need to go all in. You can't just kind of tinker and think you're going to get by. It doesn't work like that. The best team, the better teams with the owners who are all in are always going to beat you. So
I hear what you're saying. It's a very valid point. I mean, right now they're sitting at 6th in that division, and it doesn't look like they're going to gain much traction, even though they had a chance to, keep their play up. They just can't string together multiple wins. You know what I mean? They're having trouble stringing together a very long winning streak, or even 2 games in a row. They're struggling to even get back-to-back wins. So that's their problem. San Jose, they're just in a rut right now. They just made a trade 15 minutes ago with the Red Wings. Jasper Weatherby is going to the Red Wings. I'm assuming it's just an AHL trade. I'm not really familiar with these 2 guys. And the Sharks are getting Kyle Criscuolo or something?
Never heard of them.
You never heard of these 2 guys. I'm going to give my L of the week, though, to the Ducks. For the specific fact of them losing 5 straight games.
The Bedard tank is real. It's starting, folks.
It's already starting. He's only 17.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, I really wasn't expecting to see the Flyers beat the Ducks. What was it, 5-2?
Let me check real quick.
How do you lose to the Flyers that badly and just go on?
The Flyers are sneaky good, aren't they? Are they officially over 500 now?
No, okay.
They're 19-19-7, 45 points. Bro, they're a point per game team.
Yeah.
45 points in 45 games.
That doesn't feel real.
They did beat the Ducks 5-2 after getting beat by the Bruins 6-0.
Fun fact, the Philadelphia Flyers are only 5 points behind your Pittsburgh Penguins.
I mean,
How do you
this is
feel?
just fan behavior at this point.
That's a
at
fun
this
fact
point.
if I say so myself.
This is just fan behavior. This is crazy.
This is
We'll get to
Adrian's
them
being
later.
taken 3-on-1 right now.
Nah, we'll get to it later. They can have their,
We'll
they
get
can have
to
their
it
little
later.
fun for now.
All
They
right.
can have their
Can
little
I
fun
say
for
one
now.
thing real quick?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think it's better that the Vancouver Canucks do not win because I don't want to see their city go in flames again. So, honestly, just not win right now, Vancouver.
Just say losing. We're going to move it on. Switch gears to the Central Division, as always. I know Dallas is in front, but they're going to get caught. They're going to get caught. I just don't see them being able to keep up with the Jets, legitimately. I don't see it as something they're going to keep pace with. And if you look right now, this Jets team, I think they're tied in points. I'm pretty sure they're tied in points.
They are exactly tied in the standings right now.
And they don't. And Winnipeg doesn't have a
Though-
game on Dallas. They each have
Yeah.
45 played.
But Winnipeg has 3 more wins. There's your overtime losses. for you.
Exactly. There's your OT losses.
Dallas has 7. Winnipeg has 1. It's infuriating.
Legitimately, like, what do these teams got to do? What do they got to do to prove?
Like, imagine in baseball you got like half a win for losing an extra.
You go to
innings.
extra innings and you get
Like,
half a win. Yeah, legitimately.
It's just like
yeah, it's the
you
same
still
exact thing.
Lost the game. Your reliever still came in and gave up a 500-foot home run. Like, you don't deserve it.
I agree with you. I forgot one thing I just wanted to mention. Quinn Hughes has been playing great for the Canucks this past week. You know, so let's get all the Hughes brothers in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, I listened last episode. I remember Nem saying Jack Hughes from the LA Kings too. Come over to New Jersey. We'll trade Buffalo for Jack Quinn. Jack Quinn, Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, Quinn Hughes. Let's do it.
Oh, man. Get the Thompson brothers, too.
Yeah, though I think one Thompson brother is a little better than the other.
What if you send
but-
Ty to Buffalo?
Just a little bit better. I don't know. Not that much, right?
Nah, not at all.
Not at all. But Minnesota actually won every single game they played this week. The Wild are back. They're gonna make a solid push, and
That's
they they locked up Matt Boldy on a 7-year, $49 million contract.
Honestly, I think it's a good deal. I mean, like Matt Boldy, I was talking to my brother about it. He said he thinks it's a bad deal, but honestly, I think Matt Boldy is a player that is really under the radar. I think.
Isn't he
most
only
people.
21 years old?
Yeah, he's 21. I mean, but in like last year was his rookie year, I believe. Now he's having another really good season once again. I don't mind them locking him up. He has 12 goals, 17 assists, 29 points in 43 games. I mean, for a 21-year-old, that's pretty good, honestly. And I don't like. I mean, from Ottawa, right? Tim Stützle.
Yeah.
He got like 8 years, 8.3 million. So it seems like a lot of these like teams like are trying to like lock up their players, and it seems like the prices, the salaries they're getting is really high now.
Yeah, I have 2 things to add. The first being that Tim Stützle gets paid more per year than Jack Hughes. That is just Ottawa. What are you doing?
Ottawa, man.
And that more so speaks to how big it was for the Devils to lock Jack Hughes up, because that is going to be a steal of a contract and opens up probably like $6 million a year in cap space compared to what he deserves. So that's huge.
That's huge for Hughes.
Yes, Connor, actually.
Incredible, man. Incredible. You know what? I'm going to give it to myself. Regardless, but Boldy's contract breakdown, $8 million next season. Then it goes to 9.7. Then it drops back down to 7.7, 6, 5.9. He ends up having, in the last 2 years of the deal, he's a 10-team no-trade clause.
The Devils need to get something done with Dawson Mercer, similar to that. Maybe not as much money, I don't know. But he has shown that he's going to be a cornerstone of our franchise, and he kind of does everything, even off the puck, like even not offensively. He's big on the penalty kill. You could play him on any line, and he'll be able to find success there. So we need Dawson Mercer extended ASAP.
I love to see it. I love to see it. But moving on here. So Nashville actually, they played 5 games in this past week. They had 2 back-to-backs and a game in between the back-to-backs. So they didn't stop, and they were able to get 2 wins off. They actually moved up into 4th in the Central Division, and Colorado moved up to 5th. And the Blues dumped all the way down to 6th. There's a lot of shifting going on. There's a lot. Those 3 teams have like the same amount of points, and they're just kind of rotating at this very moment. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they end up. Arizona's still in the bottom. They got 1 win, and I was gonna bring that up. They just dropped new jerseys. What is everyone's thoughts on the new Coyote jerseys that will be debuted at ASU?
I think they're very ugly. Not gonna lie. I don't know about you guys.
I don't know. I kind of like them.
AJ, have you seen a picture of these jerseys yet? I think
That's
you got-
horrible.
Okay, wait.
That's
I
really
take
bad.
back my
No,
statement.
that's
I didn't
really
see the
bad.
full picture. I don't really like them that much.
You know, you know what
it
that
looks like Legos.
No, you know what that looks like? What's that? Hold that up, Justin, again. You know what that looks like? That looks like when you walk into like a really like old woman's house and it's like a quilt on like the back of their couch.
It's like the tablecloth.
It's exactly. That's literally what that looks like. That's horrible. Do better, Arizona.
So the ASU Coyotes are going to be debuting. Nem's raising her hand. Yes, you're allowed to speak.
I have a question. Can
Professor
we
Cupen.
can we do an episode where we just rank the like different jerseys?
Oh, yeah.
I think
Oh,
that'd
yeah,
be
we
really
can do
fun.
that.
That needs to happen.
By the way, this is the part of the game where Nylander gets a penalty shot, by the way. So I just want everyone to go through what I'm going through. Look at this Sergei Bobrovsky masterclass, bro.
garbage.
Didn't Nylander score like right after this?
Nah, it came a little
He,
later.
he scored the overtime.
The overtime game
Right.
winner. The overtime game winner. Oh, no, actually, he just completely missed the net. It goes over, watch. It just completely flies over the net.
I mean, just get it up over his stick. What's it got on the net? He has
Yeah,
him
look,
beat.
all he did, it just goes
Like, he
right
has
over
a
the net. It goes right over the
Just
net
hit the
into the
net.
crowd.
He has him so beat. Just hit the net. It's a goal.
Literally. Sergei Bobrovsky masterclass, guys.
For the Arizona jerseys, they're playing in a college arena. They're supposed to market to college kids. If any of you wore this jersey, I would make fun of you. So,
Yeah, like I said before, this is the equivalent of like an old
Tablecloth.
person's tablecloth,
yeah,
right?
my grandma
not
might
the
be
jersey
like,
you
"Oh wow,
wear to
this
Pike."
is wonderful."
It's
This is
gonna
not
be
the
in
jersey you
all
wear
of
to
your
Pike at
Christmas
ASU.
gifts next year. I guarantee everyone's getting a Coyotes jersey next year for Christmas. Because Grandma goes on Pinterest, she sees the Yotes jersey, like that looks like a great jersey there.
Don't wear that sweater to Frat Street. What's it called? During a nice Stanley Cup. What's it called?
They're-
Celebrate a
I can't wait
parade
for the
in 2
Coyotes
years.
Stanley Cup parade at Pike. That is the best scene. That's the best scene. And somehow they're still not last in the division because the Blackhawks are better at being a bad team than Arizona. Even though they won 2 games this past week, so I'll give Chicago their credit. They weren't able to be terrible. They were able to get a couple wins. So we're going to switch gears over yet again, swinging it over to the Metropolitan Division, as always. So where do we start? The Carolina Hurricanes still in first place, picking up 2 wins this past week and 1 loss. They beat the Penguins. AJ, what happened? Tell us about it.
Wait. Sorry. What happened?
That's cute. I mean, you're playing without your top 3 defensemen, your backup goalie. Like, whatever. No big deal. No big
No
deal.
biggie.
No
They
big
also
deal.
beat the Blue Jackets and Johnny Hockey's boys, but lost to the Canucks in a shootout.
Regular season losses when you're so used to success and you're so used to what's it called, eventually figure it out and you'll be fine. They don't faze me.
They don't phase him.
They really don't.
See, my team only plays in the regular season, so like, actually, not the last 2 years they made the playoffs, but before that it was rough.
This isn't what it's about. Just get to the dance. They'll be fine.
You see, you think that sometimes. You really think that sometimes. Get to the dance and they'll be fine.
I
they
want
said.
to get that quote on a T-shirt. Just get to the dance.
Just get to the dance.
Just get to the dance. They'll figure it out.
Now, second in the
Maybe they'll figure
division.
it out.
Second in the division, the team with the most wins in the division. Aha, you get it. You see what I'm saying there? See what I'm saying? They should be in first. But guess what? Hurricanes got 4 wins worth of overtime losses. So they're in front. The Devils have won 5 straight games. They're the hottest team in the league again. 3 wins this past week. San Jose in a shootout. The Kings and the Ducks sweeping that road trip so far, unless they could beat the Kraken tomorrow night. Boys and girl, what's it been like? No one's got any words. Nobody has words. So they're just
For
like,
your
it's very
own
nice.
team, the team you've been talking about, what's it called, in between multiple topics this show. For your own team, you don't have any words when they pitch it to you.
I got
You
some,
gotta be kidding
I got
me.
some words.
About time. Thank
He's
you.
got words.
This
Double
New
tap
Jersey
that,
Devils
boys.
team is putting the league on notice once again. They got 2 very big wins.
So when does
over-
it get off notice? In a couple weeks?
Probably
The
when-
first round of the playoffs.
The first round of the
Once the
playoffs.
heater ends.
Oh, jeez.
Like Jack Hughes would say, but they got
Delusion.
2 huge wins to start off the streak against Carolina and the Rangers, both comeback wins from 3-1. So I feel like that is very impressive, let alone. And also, I just want to note the Devils are 12-6-2 when giving up the first goal this season. I feel like that's a really impressive stat. Let alone that shows that they're staying, that there's no quit.
So just
in New
give
Jersey.
up the first goal. That's
There's no
no
quit.
quit in New Jersey. Oh, can we coin that?
The Rangers could say otherwise, but
I don't know if you can coin that. Maybe.
But
Maybe.
But I mean, the goalies Vitek and Blackwood both been playing great. I think Jack Hughes, superstar. Jesper Bratt has been stepping up his game. Dawson Mercer has been stepping up his game. I mean, the Devils are getting contributions from all 4 lines. It feels like finally after a while. And then
What?
also,
What was the laugh about?
I can't comment on that. But I also want to say Dougie Hamilton. Woo! He is hot offensively right now, and Ryan Graves. I don't know. What do you think about this, guys?
Daniel has no mic right now, so he can't even. He can't even.
All right.
He's
yeah,
got a presentation ready.
Nah, Dougie is on fire offensively, but at the same time, I feel like defensively is kind of taking a tumble. I mean, there have been... I know Justin's always not been a fan of his defense, but I feel like the past, 5 games or so, so many times he's been caught, way out of position, and 2-on-1s or breakaways the other way, and obviously, it's kind of like you don't want to tell him to clean it up because that might sacrifice his offense, and he's over a point per game player right now. But when it does happen, it's very frustrating. So it's kind of like, as a coaching staff, how do you approach that? He's a veteran. He's played that way his whole career and generally had success, but at the same time, it could end up coming to bite the team. But just another thing I want to share about Ryan Graves. Connor McDavid is a +4 this season. Ryan Graves is a +31. So it just shows you what having a good supportive cast around you can do, and now
Yeah, plus minus. Yeah, that means almost nothing.
exactly. But that just shows you. That's not saying Ryan Graves is better than
Yeah,
Connor
yeah,
McDavid.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But Connor McDavid does not have that supporting cast around him. The Devils, and props to Tom Fitzgerald, have built a legitimate National Hockey League defensive core over the span of just a couple years. And we're seeing the results of it, and it's really a beautiful thing.
It's really a beautiful, beautiful thing. Underneath the Devils, the New York Rangers still hold. There's been no shifts in the Metro in this past week at all. Just a lot of closing gaps, but Devils still in second, Rangers still in third, Washington, Pittsburgh occupy 4th and 5th. I believe they have both wildcard spots out east. They're tied with the Islanders. They have the same amount of points. Islanders have 1 more win, however. But they've played 2 more games on them. So we'll see what happens there with the Isles. Sorokin's been playing really good, but they've still been losing games because of their offense. The Flyers won 3 games, so they're 5 points behind the Penguins right now. AJ, how does that make you feel?
I don't care. I really don't care. They just need to get their top 3 D-men back, get Jari back, make a move on the bottom 6. They'll be just fine.
I feel like AJ's is just saying this in 2 weeks from now when the Flyers are ahead of the Penguins. We're gonna come back to this.
You want to make another bet?
Nah, I'm not betting that.
You want to bet
Bet
that
it right now.
I'm not betting that.
I'll give you 3-1 on it.
I guess I'll get back to you in 5 minutes on that.
I will
5
give
minutes.
you 3-1 on it.
I'm just waiting for me to win the other bet and to see you in Devil's gear.
It's not happening.
That
It
will
will.
be the greatest.
And you're gonna
picture
be
of my
front and
life.
center for
And
when
guess
the
what?
Penguins
That's
lose.
going on Devil's Report.
And I will be
That's
be
a
there
story
live
cast right
in
there.
person
Also, Devils
when
fanatics.
the bet becomes a push. And it ain't happening.
All right.
Dude dug himself such a deep hole, he's literally begging that the bet's a push now. just like, please, please, please.
I mean, that's how the framework of the bet was. Like, you win 2, someone wears a jersey.
Oh, trust me, I
You
know.
win
I
2,
just really want
someone
to
else
see you in
wears a
Devils
jersey.
gear. Like, that would just be beautiful.
I mean, you have Adobe Photoshop.
Okay, but that takes time.
The greatest
Like,
Photoshop was made earlier today, also.
it's not the same as opposed to you wearing authentic Devils gear, like, on yourself.
I think I'm gonna Photoshop a picture of AJ in a Devil's jersey right now.
All
I
right,
think
we
that's a
need
great
that.
idea.
I think we need this content. I think it needs to go on the Instagram and all over the internet.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. I'll have it done by the end of the show.
Got
She's
it.
got 25 minutes.
And,
The clock is ticking.
I need 15 tops.
15 tops.
Mm-hmm.
And
Alright.
this is the part where the Maple Leafs tied the game, and then the Florida Panthers fell apart. Anyway, moving on here. Flyers still in second to last. Johnny Hockey's boys and the Blue Jackets are at the bottom. Will they be able to get to even seventh in that division? No.
No, no way. But the Flyers actually have. It's not gonna happen, I don't think. But they are in the wild card race.
They are so in the wild card
they're
race.
8-2 in their last 10. They played themselves into the race. Now, do I think they're gonna win the race? Absolutely not. But the fact that they're even there is
They're
incredible.
2 points behind Florida.
It's incredible, but at the same time, it's hurting that their chase for Bedard because now they're gonna end up finishing like 7th and have terrible.
Listen, they got
odds.
Florida's pick from Giroux trade anyway, so who cares? They have that from that's for next year, I believe. They have next year's Florida's first rounder next year, and Montreal has the first rounder this year.
I just cannot bear to see Connor Bedard in a Flyers jersey or a Coyotes jersey, especially if they're wearing those grandma quilts.
We need the grandma quilts in our lives. What do you mean? You're not down for the grandma quilts?
But I don't know. I want to see him in Anaheim. Bedard and Zegras on a line together. Whew.
All right.
That would be something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask you guys, what team would you like to see Bedard on? And I was gonna say Anaheim.
Florida.
Montreal.
Florida. Montreal or Anaheim. I feel like I don't
Love
want him to go
Montreal.
to Chicago's just way too far from being a good team right now. They're gonna probably
Chicago
trade
doesn't
Patty
deserve
Kane.
him.
And then you're gonna Columbus. Nah. And Montreal, they're gonna have 20. They're gonna have like a
They
20%
have 2 top 10
chance.
picks.
They're gonna have a really good chance to get
If
him.
it all depends on how Florida ends this
And
season.
you already know the Montreal fans, they're going crazy right now about the Connor Bedard right now. So they have to be unhappy that they won their last 2 games.
Bedard and Caulfield on a line together too would be absolutely not even fair. That would be so fun to watch.
And they're younger than us. Is Caulfield? No, Caulfield's probably not younger than us.
No, Caulfield isn't, but Bedard
Is
younger
absolutely.
than my younger brother.
Younger
Unreal.
than my younger brother. Moving on here, the final division on this roster of divisions, the Atlantic.
If I could just hit on real quick.
Go right ahead.
There's a story that came out yesterday about Bedard. He was training with NHL players in the off season. Some big names. Connor McDavid was one of them. He found himself on a 16. He was 16 at the time. 16-year-old Connor Bedard finds himself on a 2-on-1 with Connor McDavid. Looks off McDavid and scores. Didn't even think about passing it to him. 16 years old, looking off the best player in the world, like it's his day job, and scoring.
It's going to
Like
be his
that-
day job.
That just shows the confidence he has, and like NHL. There were other NHL players. I think Nathan McKinnon was also one of them there. Like they were all just laughing about it, and they're like, "Wow, like this kid's gonna be a stud." And it's the same thing when Sidney Crosby practiced at the LA Kings training camp when he was like 16 or 17, I believe, and he did not look out of place whatsoever. I mean, you could tell he was gonna be a stud, and obviously he was. He still is. So that just shows the completely different tier that Connor Bedard is at in comparison to his peers.
I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
believe it.
Bedard is a prospect right now. Like, he's not even the best prospect since McDavid. He's the best prospect since Crosby.
Yeah.
What a statement right there.
And I don't even think it's that bold of a take either.
Nope. I agree.
He's
Dude,
He's
Shane
Sidney
Wright's
Crosby
Shane
2.0.
Wright's the window of fame of being that kid is already gone.
He's
can't-
Sidney Crosby 2.0.
Shane Wright went from being like the next greatest NHL player to exist to being passed up by the New Jersey Devils.
And traded in the OHL,
Yep.
which I found was incredibly funny. But let's talk about Boston real quick. They're at the top of the league. Pavel Zacha just signed a 4-year, I believe, around like $17 million contract with them, $18 million contract with them. That's an interesting move. I think it was $18.5 million is what he signed for with the Bruins. Or it might have been 19. Regardless, he's with Boston, and they look like the best team in the league. But will they be able to sustain it in the playoffs? They're making the playoffs. They don't even have 10 losses. They don't even have 10 losses yet, which is an unreal clip for a team like that. 72 points in 43 games. Unreal. I don't think another team even has like 65.
Yeah, if Boston were to play like a 30-point pace, they're getting in.
Yeah.
Not one team in the West has even 60 points. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
That shows you how much weaker the West is, because the East has 4 teams with at least 60 points. And their wild card teams have 50 points. Whereas in the West, like, it's all so compact. 59 to 51 points is the range. And then there's just the Bruins. But Toronto, underneath, in second place, has won a couple games. The Lightning have won 4 in a row now. They're hot yet again. Beat the Kraken, beat the Blues, beat the Canucks, beat the Blue Jackets. Incredible run they're on here. Florida, I don't even know what to say. Like, we're watching the rerun right now of how they lost to Toronto. I think they beat Buffalo, which was a huge win for them because that leapfrogs them over the Sabres in the playoff run. They beat the Canucks, but then they lost to Vegas. So, like, they're just in the middle of nowhere, kind of. It's Kachuk carrying the boys. You understand what I'm saying? And as far as Buffalo goes, even they're struggling again. It's just kind of Tage and Darlene carrying the boys. Like, I don't know what Buffalo's supposed to really do here. They lost to Florida, as I already mentioned, and that was an ugly win for them. Then they lose to Chicago, mind you.
Yeah, no, they were up 3-2 with like 56 seconds left, and they blew it and lost in overtime.
Still got a point, though. But
Yeah.
regardless, yeah.
Their
You
young
lose-
team was trying to figure out to win. What's like,
I'm
what Buffalo was going into this year, like their goal is to find who's going to be, like, who are we building around.
Yeah.
They found an elite number 1 center, and they found what's going to be an elite number 1 D-man. And they're competitive in pretty much all their games. Is that not a win of a season, regardless if it happens?
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's already a success of a season for Buffalo, in my opinion. I mean, 29, 19-3. They haven't made the playoffs since like 2009, something like that. It's been a while for them. But you know what? After losing Jack Eichel, you think, oh, they're just going downhill again. But Darlene's been amazing. You got Owen Power. He's been getting his game together, and obviously Tage Thompson. And a bunch of other young studs on this team. So I mean, I look at Buffalo. I mean, 2 years down the line, I think they could be up there as like one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion, right now.
Easily.
Also, I just want to comment real quick. Tampa Bay, they're hot right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're a team to obviously, like, we know Tampa. Like, they made
I
it to
do
the,
know
They
Tampa.
made it to the
I
cup.
do know Tampa.
They made it to the cup the last 3 years. I mean, it doesn't even matter where they place. They're probably gonna get to the conference finals, I think.
That's the
either
thing.
way.
Like, it's like when they won in 2021, they weren't even the 2 seed. They were the 3 seed in that division. And last year, going to the cup final, I think they were the 2 seed or the 3 seed in the Atlantic. They almost lost to the Leafs. The Leafs had a 3-1 lead, and they blew it. And they fully blew it.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is kind of like the Yankees in the sense that it seems like no matter who they put out onto the field or the ice in this case, they find a way to be successful and make the playoffs.
I mean, it also helps when you have the best goaltender
that is
and the best
true.
defenseman.
That is
You know what I
true.
mean? And the former MVP. They have a ton of
But
talent
they-
that stayed there. They've
Yeah.
lost a bunch, but their core guys have stayed. And Vasilevsky's another beast in the playoffs. Like, I've never seen someone just turn the switch on and become the best goaltender like that. Like, it's not even close.
You could say the same about Andre Palat, but he is no longer property of Tampa Bay, so we'll see how that goes.
That's
come
true.
Playoff time.
That's true.
Yeah. What's his name? Brandon Hagel. He stepped up big time for them in that top 6 role. They needed somebody to replace Palat, and Hagel has been that guy for them.
Is there any other team besides Tampa Bay where you look at them and you genuinely think the regular season does not matter?
Tampa
Toronto.
for sure. Toronto? Oh, yeah, Toronto for sure, too. Yeah, because
Right.
they're the opposite, though. They're the anti, yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when I went to Toronto a couple months ago, I interviewed a bunch of Toronto fans saying how, like, is it miserable? And they're like, we don't even care about the regular season anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. We know we're going to make the playoffs. We know, hey, we have a good team. But it's all about – I feel like once Toronto gets past that first round, they're going to be like Washington when they couldn't get past the second round. I feel like once Toronto gets past that first round, they're going all the way. So, I mean...
Once they get past the first round, it's like, all right, this is the shot.
Look, it has to happen at some point. Like, William Nylander, he's some guy who's been under the radar, I think. He's having an amazing season, probably better than Mitch Marner right now. So
Yeah, Nylander was having an insane season.
So,
Is
I
having
don't
an
know. I
insane
mean,
season.
this Toronto team, I feel like if... this has to be the year. I
Like,
mean,
it's just
but we-
crazy.
I
It's
feel like
right.
we
It's
say that
crazy,
a lot.
right? Because, like, look, we said, like, 2 years ago, they get literally the Montreal Canadiens, who have more losses than wins in that first round playoff series, and they blow the 3-1 lead to Montreal. And then last year, they blow the 3-1 lead to Tampa Bay. And they were so close, so many times. It's just like it won't stop for them. You're right. I wouldn't care what the regular season at that point, because they know they're going to make the postseason. They know they're good enough. They have that high-powered offense. It's just their defense. It's just their defense that holds them back. And then underneath, like a team like Detroit fell off, Ottawa fell off, and Montreal just got hit with a huge wave of injuries. As Nem pointed out, they just lost half their team. I believe Okay, so Slavkovsky, he's out for 3 months with a lower body injury. There's so many injuries. Let's cap it off. Jake Evans is out 8 to 10 weeks with a lower body injury. Johnny Druin is out 3 weeks, and Joel Armia is up 3 weeks as well. So if this is a Montreal team that was in the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. And last year they completely fall down to the first overall pick in the draft. And they're probably they're going to get 2 possible top 10 picks. And we just got a picture of AJ wearing Devils gear sent to our group chat. Nice job, Nem.
Thank you. Can I get a time on that?
Well, it's 3:47. If you started at 3:35, you got 12 minutes. It was 12 minutes.
It's not a bad Photoshop. I mean, it is. I hate the jersey.
I hate the jersey.
It's okay.
But what are y'all's thoughts on all these injuries for Montreal? How does a team deal with something like this?
I mean, how did the Devils deal with it last season? They didn't.
They didn't.
That's very true.
You just gotta accept the fact that it's over. Is this where they? Well, I mean, it's not even like they know they're. Are they punting the season at this point?
That's what you have. That's the question you have to ask if you're in management in Montreal, because you could tank and you can lose, but there's a way to tank and there's a way to lose. Like you can't just go down and lose 6-0 every game and just not be in it. You need your young guys to be able to develop and to be able to play in games, and get reps. Get shifts in a meaningful situation, because that's how you're going to progress. So you have to value what's more important. Is it more important for all your other young talent to be able to develop and flourish and be able to compete and down the rest of the road, or do you shut down these guys? Just tank for the next 37 games, and then run test the dominoes and trying to get a Bedard or a Fantilli.
No, I don't think you could do that, because I want my young players on my team to be playing at their highest level that they possibly can. That's the only way they're going to get better, and the only way they're going to get better is playing in meaningful hockey, in my opinion. So even if Montreal is maybe 10 points out of a playoff spot in March or April, I mean, that's meaningful hockey, in my opinion. So I feel like any team wants to be in that position. I mean, Cole Caulfield, obviously, this team's been to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know, you could call it a Mickey Mouse Stanley Cup Final run. But, I mean, Cole Caulfield, I mean, You want him. You want Kirby Doc, Nick Suzuki, those guys, all to really develop and flourish as players, as well as I can't even pronounce his name ever. Sufkovsky, however you pronounce it. And then eventually, possibly Connor Bedard. So, yeah, we'll see.
All right, everyone. You got something?
Slavkovsky's hard. If you think Slavkovsky's hard, how about Arbor Jakai?
What's the
I
hardest
think
name to
that's
pronounce in the
how you say
league for you guys?
Shakir Mukamadulan.
That's your number one?
Yo, is he alive?
Is he alive? Well, he's in the KHL right now, but I mean that's Russia, so your question could be taken literally. I don't know. But
So one more thing to cap off the Atlantic Division here. Alex Nedeljkovic got put on waivers,
deserved mid.
but just you would have never expected that 2 years ago. You know, I remember he had the insane season in Carolina. Like he was legit third in Calder voting. He was a Calder Trophy finalist 2 years ago.
So was VTech 2 years ago. Just saying.
It was not 2 years ago. Had to be more than that.
No, hold on.
It was the 2021 season. It was probably 2020 or 2022. What year?
2020 to 21, I believe.
Nah, that was him, Kaprizov. That was Nedeljkovic, Kaprizov, and Jason Robertson were the three Calder Memorial Trophy representatives that year. So I don't think it could be that year because Nedeljkovic then got traded immediately after that season from Carolina to Detroit, and then he falls off a cliff. He just got put on waivers because he had an 88 save percentage. He was not playing good, and I would have never seen it coming. So good on Carolina. They got Freddie Anderson as their goaltender now. They got one season of Nedeljkovic playing good, and then they shipped him off, and Detroit was clearly robbed. You got something?
You want to go? You go, Dan.
Sorry, it was 6th in Calder voting. That's why.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Sometimes Calder voting matters. Sometimes it is a good representation of what is to come for a player. Other times it's not.
Yeah, well, in Nedeljkovic's case, I think Carolina's defense just kind of
Was that Tony DeAngelo when he was back there playing in
No,
Carolina?
That was
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, he only played there 1 year last year.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, after him and Georgiev had beef.
Yeah.
But for Nedeljkovic's case, Carolina's defensive core was so loaded and suppressed chances so well that I think, like, to have a 930 save percentage, you have to be good. But I don't think it truly told the story of his career.
I
Because,
feel like a ton of goaltenders have that happen to them.
yeah,
Your
like,
defense can really make you look so much better. Like, look at Grubauer with Colorado,
yeah.
or even Darcy Kemper. You know, like a ton of defenses can just improve a goaltender.
The way I personally look at it is you look at their past history, and if they were having like high 800 save percentages in juniors and the AHL, and then they come to the NHL and dominate, it's probably not them. Even for as much as it hurts to say Akira Schmid with the Devils, I mean, he came up and he looked like the second coming of Martin Brodeur, but I don't think it was genuine because the defense played phenomenal in front of him. And yeah, he did make some nice saves, but he had like a 920 something save percentage. Akira Schmid is not even that in the AHL, let alone the NHL. So I think sometimes when you have a small sample size and your defense plays well in front of you, like you said, Connor, it's just very it's almost like it gets kind of misconstrued because it's like you don't have to play that well to be a good goalie. I mean, there were games last year where John Gillies and Andrew Hammond had a 950 save percentage. Like, if the defense plays well in front of you, you're going to stop pucks. If the shots are coming from the outside, you have clear lanes to save the pucks. I mean, any professional goaltender will make those stops unless you're Andrew Hammond against the Buffalo Sabres.
That's very true.
I was gonna say something along those lines. I feel like there's like certain teams out there in the league that any goalie could just flourish. Like Carolina, they've had probably like 5 or 6 different goalies over the last few years, and they still managed to get amazing performances from their goaltenders. Washington's another team. Pittsburgh, I feel like, is another team that's had many different goalies in the past, like Jari, Murray, Fleury. All those guys have been
They all
amazing.
rhymed.
Yeah, that did. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, even Colorado, another team, because
Colorado definitely, yeah.
Who's their goalie right now? I'm blanking.
The goalie right now.
Yes, I'm blanking. Who's Colorado's goalie? I can't. Even
Someone find the Avs goalie now.
It's not Grubauer. Obviously, he went to
No,
Seattle.
yeah, he went to Seattle. Right now, Colorado's goaltender.
I think he's the backup. He's the backup.
Francois?
Francois.
I don't know.
Gorgiev?
Probably.
Georgiev.
Oh,
Look at him.
no.
He's having a good season right now, I think. At least, I mean, the first half of the season, it looked like, I don't know how he's
Georgiev?
doing now, but he was doing good. So I feel like
He's a 9.14 right now.
that's good. I would take that for I'll take that out of any goalie. So I mean, it seems like there's like certain teams that are very well built defensively that any goalie could just be good in their system.
Yeah, when you got Eric Johnson, Devin Towes, and Cale Makar, you know what I mean? You have a solid defense in front of you. Now, moving on, we're going to have to talk about the top story of this week, Ivan Provorov. So for those who don't know, last night, the Flyers had a Pride Night at, I believe they played at the Wells Fargo Center, correct?
Yeah.
And Provorov didn't participate in the warm-ups last night. He was declining to wear the team-issued Pride Night jerseys, which celebrate the LGBTQ community. And Torts backed him up. He was the first one to get interviewed about it. He was saying he was being true to himself and his religion. And then Provorov then got a chance to speak, and he said, I respect everyone. I respect everybody's choices, and my choices are to stay true to myself and my religion. So, panel, air out your thoughts, if you have any.
All right, I'll go. Here's my thing with that. So, last night the Flyers and their organization committed to raising awareness to a group that has faced so much scrutiny over the years in this country. They dedicated warm-ups, pregame, and I'm assuming during game festivities, because I've been to a couple I've been to a couple arenas and a couple games and multiple sports that have had Pride Night, and they'll do stuff throughout the game. If that's wrong, then I apologize. So what the Flyers did in warm-ups, obviously they had their rainbow jerseys to symbolize the pride flag.
Yeah.
And all the players showed unity by wearing that. Provorov basically, by not taking warm-ups because he didn't want to wear the jersey, basically gave the double bird to not only the LGBTQ plus community, but
Also the Flyers.
also the Flyers. And he also gave the double bird to the league.
A big one there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It was one of the worst looks I've seen from an NHL player in a while. It was horrible. It was quite frankly disgusting. And I hated every second of it. He should not be supported, honestly. It's not with that. I get it, his religious beliefs. But it's not hard to wear a jersey
For like 10 minutes.
for 10
right?
minutes, skate around, and at least
They
show
don't,
your
it's not,
support.
they don't even play in the jersey.
Because I guarantee you some of the fans that night in the arena,
Lost fans. Could have
Absolute-
lost fans.
not only could you have lost fans, but I guarantee you there was probably a decent amount to a ton of people in that arena that are part of the LGBTQ plus
Yeah.
community.
100%.
Awful. That's all I'll say. Awful.
I agree with AJ. I mean, it's not like obviously I get he wants to stay true to his religious beliefs, but it's really I feel like it wasn't about that because everyone has their own beliefs, but it's not hard to be respectful of everyone else. Like he said, it's not hard to just
legitimately.
put on a jersey for a few minutes, skate around in it, and then just take it right off. And I had another point, and it's escaping me.
This happened earlier too, didn't it?
It did.
I'll just say something real quick. I mean, he did say like I respect everybody, but I mean, if you really respected those people, like all the LGBTQ community, I feel like all the fans there, Flyer fans, stuff like that, if he really respected them, I think he would have just went out for 10, 15 minutes. He couldn't even do that. I don't know. I feel like it's really disrespectful.
It's not a big ask. It's not a huge task.
Exactly. And,
It's just wearing a jersey.
Look, everybody has their own beliefs. That's totally fine. But I mean, I don't know. I just don't. If I was a Flyers fan and I was a part of that community, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel either. You know,
it wouldn't sit right with me.
You can have your own beliefs, but at the end of the day, respect isn't a belief that is arbitrary. Respect is a demand. Respect should be a given.
I want to preface it by saying if it were me, I would have worn the jersey. I mean, I don't think that's that much of a debate. But he did say he respects everyone, and I think, me personally, I believe it's getting blown out of proportion because, like I said, he did say he respects everyone, and he went to the team about it first. He didn't. It would be one thing if there was just a player, Luke Rowe, in the ECHL, who made comments against the LGBT community it was misinformation, blatantly disrespectful, and he got kicked off his team, and
yeah.
he deserves that because that's wrong. But in this case, it's no different than when players were kneeling for the anthem and people wanted them to be benched and stuff. No, they're not going to bench them because they're expressing themselves. And
I hear what you're saying.
this premise to me is no different because, like I said, he claimed he respected everyone, and along those lines, he never once outwardly said anything. Like I said, if it were me, I would have worn the jersey, but he chose not to. He wasn't hurting his teammates or any way, and to make someone do something that's against their religion, even if I personally don't understand it and we don't understand it, I feel like as long as he's not doing anything directly harmful, there's, again, you don't have to like it. There's a lot of things I don't like. Like I said, if it were me, again, I would have worn the jersey, but it wasn't directly harmful in the sense where he was spreading misinformation about the community or going at them in a way that was harmful towards them. Ultimately, it was his choice and his decision, and I think as long as it stays consistent, where there were talks about John Tortorella in the past potentially benching someone if they knelt for the anthem, and he ended up changing his stance on that because he agreed that people who are kneeling are not doing it with the intention of disrespecting the country. They're protesting something else. So to me, as long as he has that same consistent basis in his decisions, there really was no reason to bench him. I could imagine that some players are disappointed with Provorov's decision. If I were a player, I would be disappointed with his decision, but that doesn't mean I'm going to view him as less than a human being or feel like or feel attacked by him. I actually want to share a quick quote. I have a follower of Devil's Report who is openly bisexual, and he's been very outspoken about all of this. And he said, coming from an openly bi person, I honestly don't really have a problem with this. There's a difference between being disrespectful and just having your own opinion. Nobody should be forced to support it, and most people don't even care to begin with. I'm glad he's being true to himself at least. And again, that is someone who's part of the community, and I've seen a few people otherwise who, like I said, as long as he's not spewing hate, if he said something like, "Oh, I think gay people should," whatever negative remark, that would be completely different. But
I hear what you're saying.
he chose, in my eyes, just to do what he felt was the mature thing, and people are saying he's making it about himself, but that part I disagree with because he is choosing to not participate in it, so the event can still have the correct attention it deserves, and he's not. If he were to come on the ice with just a regular jersey or make some remark or I just feel like that'd be so much worse. By removing himself from the situation, he's still allowing the event to get the proper attention that it deserves. That's how I look at it.
Well, what a way to wrap up this episode of Breaking the Ice here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Back to 1 hour shows a week. We're going to be back next week, of course. Wednesdays 3 to 4. Everyone, say your goodbyes to the show.
Deuces.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Unreal.
Have a great day, everybody.